There we go. Welcome, everybody, wrestling fans. How's everyone doing this week? Nice to be back again for episode number 40 here of All Elite Zone AEZ Canada. And it's myself, Matty G, along with my U.S. counterpart with the Canadian flag behind him. Love it. Adam, the bearded Hausen. How are you this week?
I'm good. Good to be back. Another good week and leading up to Double or Nothing 2024.
Yeah, it's a big event. So it's only fitting that I think we touch on the pay-per-view that's coming up this Sunday live from Las Vegas, Nevada, a Double or Nothing, where I guess the roots of AEW started 5 years ago with the biggest indie show that I guess up until that point had happened. And how it spawned into what we know of AEW today. So it's came up pretty quick, and it's hard to believe it's been 5 years, eh?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, just to think that 5 years ago that they just dreamt of this whole thing and was like, this it's going to be a big indie show. So here goes nothing, Double or Nothing, no pun intended.
Yeah, no, I think a real pillar point, for professional wrestling and indie shows. The fact that you could, sell out a show to that size. So no, it was great. You know what I mean? And then spawned off, like a ton of shows, a ton of big indie shows, and we're coming, I guess, to the 5-year anniversary with a pretty stacked card. I think for the most part. So, I thought it'd be fitting if we just kind of touch on some of the matches, maybe what some of the ones that we're looking forward to, some of the ones that maybe we're not looking forward to so much or couldn't care less about, and maybe which ones we think it might be the surprise.
Yeah.
It might be the hit of the whole pay-per-view, or which one has the potential to be, the winner. So to speak, no pun intended, with the gambling concept there. But no, it's great. I guess let's start off. I've got the list here. And again, looking for any comments. If anyone's, thanks for tuning in, everybody. And please, we love the comments. If you have any comments, please, any predictions, hey, by all means, throw them away our way, and we'll definitely address them. So great. So let's I'll bring up the first one here, which is a quote unquote straight up wrestling match between Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. Do we need this straight up wrestling match title, and what does that really mean, and what could possibly be the difference to what a normal wrestling match would be? What do you think, Adam?
Well, I think this is kind of the play on the audience and maybe Trent's perspective on Orange Cassidy not being a straight up wrestler and this kind of gimmicky thing. So I think it's the idea of Trent being like, let's see if you can actually be a wrestler and not just this goofy gimmick of yourself. So I think it'll still be a good match. I think Trent gets his win back, really, from the loss that he took from Orange. I believe that was that Collision or Dynamite that they wrestled on. I couldn't remember their match on TV that Orange won and
yeah,
Chaos and Feud and all that.
For some reason, I'm thinking Collision, but it could have been Dynamite. Yeah. How do you feel? Are you excited about this rivalry? Do you like what's going on?
Yeah, no, I do. I think this is Trent's way of kind of also turning Orange kind of more aggressive and darker. I know we wanted to see a more darker and aggressive side of Orange Cassidy. So I think this is a good feud for that, but hopefully after Double or Nothing, it's completely done, and Trent can move on to bigger and better things and kind of be done with this feud with Orange Cassidy for a while.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. I'm not overly excited. I know it's going to be a good match. I don't know where it's going to go. I wonder what they're going to do with Trent after this. Are we going to see Don Callis come out? I know they're kind of dragging this out. You don't know. Is he there? He's not there. Is Orange going to join the Don Callis family? Could we see it as a possibility? You think that Don comes out to help Orange Cassidy, and then lo and behold, he's there for Trent Beretta, right? And lines the heel with the heel, and then keeps Orange, the baby face. Or do we actually see a heel turn? and actually, complete the heel turn, with Orange Cassidy, with the Don Callis family. And I don't know. Actually, at this point, I would welcome it. I'm welcoming. I'm time. I'm ready for. I think it's time for a change. Again, I said it last week. I'd like to see him come out in his some black denim to represent the dark side. But I don't know. Maybe this is a way, like a straight up wrestling match. I don't know. Maybe this is a way to get him away from being gimmicky. It would be a good way, because then again, he could, you know, if he's like, oh, a straight up wrestling match, maybe it's going to be a lot more aggressive style. We're starting to see a bit of that aggressive style. Is it going to be more of that? So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we're going to see Don Callis come out?
I mean, they've already planted that seed, obviously, with Don Callis being involved with both of the guys. And I think this is just to see who's going to, right now, because he's injured, trying to see who replaces Hobbs within the family. But also, I believe I read somewhere that Kyle Fletcher is now out with injury as well. I'm not 100%
Really?
sure if that's accurate, but he was pulled from a show that he was supposed to be on.
Mm.
I don't know if he's injured, but I think this is also just, I like the idea of a revolving door on a Don Callis family where you get different members, with obviously Konosuke being like the firstborn in the family.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, I kind of see this as kind of like an involvement of who's going to join Don Callis's family next. So there's intrigue there, but it's not my most anticipated match on the card, to say.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have a feeling they'll start for this one. I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised if this was the opener. You know what I like that you like it, just to touch on the Don Callis family and that revolving door. I do like how they introduced Cobbs to fill in for Hobbs,
Mhm.
right? And so Cobbs was good. You kind of forget, and they did mention that he was around, I guess, and wrestled a bit in 2021 for AEW, and I forget where he's been. I don't know if he's Ring of Honor or if he's one of the other promotions, but he actually he did a good job. I think he did a good job of connecting with the fans. He did a good job of showing a good heel presence, strength. He was strong, and they were pointing that out a few times. So I thought that was good. I did like that combination, and I'm also I am a fan of Kyle Fletcher. And the fact that he's only 24, they're kind of touting him. I think he is going to be one of these future pillars. I think. If you can call him future pillars. And again, young, I think he's super talented, and I like him. I like him as part of the Don Callis family, and I hope he kind of stays that road, and you can see real improvements with him. I don't know. How do you like the development so far with Kyle Fletcher?
I like it. I like you said, I think he's definitely on his up and up as being one of the faces of AEW moving forward. I know he's the Ring of Honor television champion, so I think that that's kind of a good build for him. And I'd like to see him involved more in AEW television and just see where he goes. I know he's part of the Don Callis family, but I'd like to see him almost separating, kind of do his own solo run to see how that works out.
Yeah, I can see him maybe when they kind of groom guys to go to that next, and then all of a sudden, yes, he's going to be in a run for like the TNT belt or the international, right? Or even the FTW belt, which I don't really care about personally. But so we'll see what happens with that. But if we move on to the next match, which I think the next match will be the FTW Championship, held currently by the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, and I guess it's to be determined whether it's going to be Hook, Shibata, or Brian Keith. I don't know what your opinion on this one, but I just kind of feel like it's almost like I would personally love it if it was Shibata or Keith to throw, a monkey in the plan, like a monkey wrench in there, because it just feels like this is just a formality for Hook to be, fight Jericho for this belt. It'd be great that it wouldn't be that, to make it not so obvious, it actually give a chance to one of those guys, like Shibata would be good. Actually, even Brian Keith, like he would actually be good. So I don't know. Do you feel this is just super predictable? And if it's going to be Hook, do you see it obviously going back to Hook, or do you see Jericho retaining this, and do you see it being anyone else being than Hook? to face Jericho for the belt.
How funny would it be if they reach the time limit on this triple threat and all three of them are guaranteed? Then you have a fatal four-way for the FTW title. That way, you get all three of those guys on the pay-per-view. Against Jericho. So I mean, he's one that talks about learning tree for these new younger guys, and I'm not saying that Brian Keith or Shibata are young, but they're younger than Jericho. So, I mean, I think that would be great where he's like, crap, I have to face all three of these guys now. I guess I got to teach them all how to do it in the ring, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, no, this is very predictable of Hook. I mean, obviously building this storyline with Jericho and, Hook facing Jericho. And I think you're going to see a little bit of Taz getting involved in this match. Maybe he gets in a confrontation with Big Bill and Jericho has to come over and kind of take over and be like, hey, no, we're not doing this, blah, blah. It's still playing that, heel face kind of line. And as soon as he gets back in the ring, maybe Hook beats him and wins the title back. But yeah, no, I think it's the obvious choice that Hook wins. And then to face Hook next, I really don't know. I mean, the roster's stacked. You can pick anyone. Roosh just came back. I mean, you haven't seen him in the ring in a while. I like to see Shibata and Hook go one-on-one. I know they kind of teased that during their qualifying matches for this triple threat. They, passing each other on the ramp and all that stuff. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless if Hook wins a title and, maybe Jericho does his own thing with Big Bill or even sends Big Bill after Hook, So possibilities are really endless.
Yeah, I kind of hope that, I don't know, I'm not really sold on Hook personally. Like, it's his character. Like, there's so many good guys. I just think there maybe I still think he has a lot to learn. Again, I don't know how old he is. He's even 24 years old. Is even that old, right? So, but I do, I love that idea. I think that'd be a great way to have a fatal four and a great way to surprise people, not make it so obvious, but still have everyone being part of it. And then maybe if that happens, I think that we're going to see Jericho would retain, because again, if it's a four-way, right, it's no disqualification. Big Bill can easily jump in there. I just think it's not time yet. I mean, if they're really building the character of Jericho and the learning tree and being a champion, I think they're going to let him hold on to it for a little bit longer. See if he's going to build a stable at all. So we'll see about that. But again, I get not overly excited about this one. Again, I'm not a big fan of the FTW title. I don't really care for titles that don't mean much. Right? When it's not sanctioned, what does it really mean to be that championship? I mean, it's nice as like a placeholder. It doesn't have it. If they're going to keep it, I think it should be a real title, right? Or make it a real title to make it worthwhile. Like, what are you guys fighting for? Like, it's just like a participation trophy, right? And I do think that we're going to see Taz, because again, it's only so long that a father can watch his son get beat down, right? Before he's going to do something. So he can't be sitting behind the desk the whole time. So I think we're definitely going to see something. And probably that'll be at the pay-per-view that happens. So my prediction, I like your prediction a lot. I like that idea of the fatal four-way. I'm hoping that it sticks on Jericho. Even though I'm not a big fan, I am a fan of Jericho. I think it still helps his character, where this learning tree situation is going. But I'm going to go with Jericho to retain on this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, to keep the story going with Hook, I think you do kind of have to have Jericho retained if you want to keep this story going. But I'm very curious in how they go with it. I mean, it'd be obvious to put the title back on Hook. But again, we'd have to see how they want to do it and the route they want to go. So, I mean, again, I'm like you. I'm not really excited about this match. Hook, for me, is also hit and miss. I mean, I like his presentation in the ring. I do think he needs a little more work on the mic. But other than that, I think the kid's got a bright future in professional wrestling.
Oh yeah, well, he's definitely surrounded with like the best in the business. So if he can't get better, then there's something wrong, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm just not sold on his on this bad boy, no smiling. Like I'm kind of over it actually. I'm looking for something more. There's just so many more guys that are so much more refined and polished that I would cheer for. So saying that, okay, let's not waste any more time. Next, what do you think about the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship eliminator match? I always hate these eliminator matches. I just think I don't know. I don't really get it. John Moxley versus Takeshita. I think, I know this is going to be a really good match. Kind of interesting the fact that the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is actually going to be on the line at an AEW pay-per-view, which is kind of interesting. Again, that just shows you the partnership, the depth of partnership that they've had between Tony Khan and New Japan. I think this will be a pretty hard-hitting match. I think it'd be a really good match. I think we'll probably see some blood on this one. It seems like it's right up Moxley's alley on this one, and I think that Moxley's going to retain. What do you? What are your feelings on the match?
So for me, this is an eliminator match. So the title's not on the line. This is for a future shot of the title for Konosuke.
Wow. All right, sorry.
A lot of people confuse that when they see a title eliminator match. They think it's for the title, but it's a title eliminator match, which means if Konosuke wins, he gets a future title shot. And I'm going to go ahead and say Konosuke wins. I think he needs that big win against one of these veterans on the AEW roster, and having it against someone like a John Moxley, someone who's been basically the backbone of AEW since pretty much almost day one. I think that's the right route to do. I think you let Konosuke win. He gets the future title shot, and then maybe you have John Moxley win the rematch. So for me, I think this is going to be an exciting match. I mean, I've always enjoyed John Moxley. I think, obviously we don't know how much longer we get John Moxley in his career with all the stuff that he does, from going to New Japan to doing this and all that fun stuff. And, obviously now him and Renee with their baby and like stuff like that. So with their kids. And so, I mean, obviously John would like some time to spend time with his family, and obviously the schedule's not bad that they can do that. But I think this is going to be a really fun match. I think a lot of people are going to sleep on this match.
You know what? I take that back. You're right. Since it's not actually a championship match, which I said I thought it was, I agree. I agree with you. I agree, because this is a great opportunity to have Takeshita win, and then I could see then that actually sets up for a great match that could be on a New Japan pay-per-view. Hey, nice change there in the back.
I was like, we're talking double or nothing. That's what I was doing while we were talking. So very good at multitasking. So
very good. No, good stuff there. Yeah, you know what? I think it will be a good match. A great way to have Takeshita win and then set up for a real match. It shouldn't be an eliminator match. If you're going to have a title, shown on a pay-per-view, it should be on the line. Mm-hmm. That's why I was all excited there. I thought, oh, wow, New Japan's actually letting a championship be potentially decided on another promotion's pay-per-view. But again, lo and behold, that's not the case. But hey, it should be a good match either way. So yeah, I'm gonna side with you on this one, and I think Takeshita takes this. Probably, I could see some outside interference to cause it, right? Because if it's a, if it's not a clean finish, then that kind of, in a way, makes it like John Moxley really didn't lose, right? He got cheated out about, right? So I think that's probably the best way to do it. Now I think this next match does have the opportunity to steal the show, with both competitors can really go. When we look at the AEW International Championship, Roderick Strong versus Will Ospreay, I think this could be the match. And this will really show. I mean, Roderick, he steps it up every time. And even if I don't like him, I always appreciate the work ethic and what he's able to do. He's like the master. He is like the master of the backbreaker. So I think this is going to be a really good match. I think it's going to be hard hitting, and I think Broderick is going to really go toe to toe. He's going to keep up with Will on this one. So I think I can almost call this one. I think this is going to be the match that really gets the crowd going. What do you think?
Yeah, no, this match, I mean, this is a dream match. I love both wrestlers. I love Roddy Strong. I love Will Ospreay, bruv. I think that just the contrast of both their styles, they mesh. You know, you've got the high flying, crazy moves of Will Ospreay versus the hard hitting, back breaking moves of, you know, even Roderick can get some height in some of his moves. I mean, the running knee that he puts to people's faces. I mean, there's contrast to that with, you know, Will Ospreay's, you know, kind of hidden blade move. And I think it's going to mash well. I think this is going to be, I'm calling it now. I've done it the last pay-per-view. This match is going to be a 30-minute banger. I think this one goes 30 minutes at least. And so I think it'll be a lot of back and forth. It's kind of hard to call too, because you think, is it too soon to put that title on Will Ospreay? Or do you keep Roddy strong, sort of say, and keep the title on him, you know, where, you know, he can continue, you know, strong feuds within, you know, the group of Undisputed Kingdom. Or, like I said, I could go the third route. You do put it on Ospreay, and this is kind of the downfall of Undisputed Kingdom. You know, I mean, so, and also I think Will Ospreay being handed the international title first, I think that's a good stepping stone for eventually when he gets in the world title picture. I think it's a good title for him to have, especially if he makes appearances in other shows, because I'm pretty sure he does. I mean, I'm not sure about his contract or his previous obligations before signing with AEW, if he had other shows that he had to make this year. But someone like a Will Ospreay holding one of your titles also will draw the audience in too, because a lot of people are already behind the Will Ospreay character. So yeah, I think you can go either way with these two guys. For me personally, I would love to see Ospreay win the title because I'm an Ospreay mark, you know. So I think he's the best thing that AEW has signed to, because he's just magnificent in the ring. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ospreay winning this one against Roddy.
You know what? This would be massive for Roderick. This would be a great win for him in solidifying him as a good champion. I really hope they keep it on. I think he deserves it to keep it going. So far, I think you need that heel, his type of heel, to have a title. You know, I could see. Can you imagine this would be Ospreay's first loss? I think
Yes.
since he's been here.
Yeah, he hasn't lost yet.
You know, I mean, he's going to lose at some point. I'd rather keep this going and have him win the title at Wembley.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't push him, you know, because again, I know the heavyweight championship, the championship kind of slot is pretty stacked right now. Do you move him right up, or do you put one of these belts on, like the international title, let him build this title to get that prestige of this, right? Kind of like when they put the US title on John Cena, right? Like, and he ran with it to kind of bring it up and keep that prestige of the title, right? So I think he could really help, with the title. So yeah, I'd like to see him still keep it on this one. But again, I think it's going to be a great match. Is Will still considered part of the Don Callis family? I know they're kind of like, is he in? He's not.
It's in between, I think, and obviously, I kind of agree with you there with Ospreay winning it at Wembley or something like that, because you could kind of see with Undisputed Kingdom they find a way to cheat to let Roddy keep the title, or they do a double turn or a double twist and have Wardlow come back, try to cost Ospreay the match, but ends up costing Roderick the match. Because if you remember was it Dynasty, the look Adam Cole gave Wardlow when he was walking behind him was kind of a dirty look.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of see where maybe they basically make Roddy strong by I don't know. I'm all over the place now. Now you got me thinking. Matt. Yeah, no, I because that would be a big moment if you had Osprey win the title in Wembley. So I guess like going back to what I was saying, you could go either way with this match.
Now you could have um, Don Callis come out halfway through, and everyone's like, "Oh, here we go, get the crowd going." Don Callis comes in, tries to help Osprey win, maybe throws him a foreign object. He doesn't use it. Hey, what's going on? And then Roderick uses it. Boom, and almost like Don Callis is, almost makes Osprey lose. So it's kind of like a cheat win. Helps kind of separate him, going like, "What are you doing?" Getting angry, and that would separate him from the Don Callis family. Right? Don's like, "Oops, didn't mean to do that." Cost them a possible championship. So I mean, I could see that happening if they're trying to find a way to part him a little bit, because it's hard to have him part as as kind of the Don Callis family, with his popularity, but they haven't really addressed it. Right, like it's kind of there, it's kind of not there. They're not really promoting it, but they could use this would be a good way to kind of solidify the break, in the movement right from. And then again, that would kind of like, oh, okay, that was he has his first loss, but it wasn't really a clean loss.
Right.
So I just hope that I still think the United Kingdom or the Undisputed Kingdom, I think they still need this. I think they to keep the legitimacy of this group going, they can't start losing titles yet, or else that'll really fizzle it out, right? Because I still feel like it's still building. It's still not there yet, right? And it kind of feels like this weird, like, is it happening? It's not happening. Is it push? It's not push, right? So I just hope they do keep the title on this, and I think Roderick does deserve to have it a little longer, and I think it benefits the whole group overall. But I've been wrong before, so we'll see what happens. The next match, again, take it or leave it. The TBS Championship, Willow Nightingale defending against Mercedes Moné. Again, just like we called it, we knew Mercedes was headed for a heel turn. Again, we knew that was happening, kind of the setup for that. I just hope something interesting happens here. I just would hate to see Mercedes win her first match, and of course she wins the title. Like I've already lost interest already, to be honest, unless they do something, with Stokely and
Chris
Stantler. Like, unless something happens there to make it interesting, a heel turn, something happens, right? At least I hope there's something like that happens, because I'm waiting for something to happen, or I want something to happen. Something needs to happen. I don't know. How do you feel about this one?
I mean, this is ever since she signed to AEW, I knew the foregone conclusion that Mercedes is going to win the title sooner than later. And I did say the TBS title, I think we all agreed here, is that the TBS title would be the first title she would win. Leaning into the heelish antics, I would like to see her during the match, like grab her ankle, like playing back to how she hurt her ankle with her previous match with Willow for that women's title in New Japan. And Willow being like, oh crap, she did it again. Like, she's hurt again. Like, what do I do? And it turns out to be a coy move by Mercedes, who wins with either a cheap roll up while holding the ropes, or luring her in for a, poke to the eye with a, backstabber, and then holding the ropes while she's pinning her. And then after the match, I could see maybe Chris and Stokely like consoling Willow to where Chris Statlander clotheslines Willow and she starts her heel turn. And Stokely's kind of like stuck in the middle and just doesn't know what to do. Or he smiles and kind of says, I orchestrated it to where, Chris needs to be more aggressive, and this was our plan the whole time. I think a lot of people are expecting the expected. The Mercedes Moné full heel turn. I think a lot of people are behind Willow, and a lot of people think she's getting the short end of this stick. But people have to remember that Julia Hart was hurt, and the only way for this to happen was for Willow to beat Julia at Dynasty, for this to move forward of running it back against Willow and Mercedes. So, I mean, in all honesty, I'd like to see Willow retain, but this is a foregone conclusion that Mercedes is going to win, and it's probably with some heel tactics.
Yeah, no, I do think that Mercedes is going to win. I'd love to see Stokely somehow get involved and potentially maybe joining up with Mercedes. And that would really solidify the heel turn, right? Being with Stokely, because he's such a weasel, like a rat, right? It's only he can't. It's almost like he's a heel. He's playing a baby face for now, right? Again, it's just lead. I think it's just leading up to it. So something is going to happen. It feels like for me, I keep on all my concepts. I keep on. I think it's like third match where I think the manager is going to interfere and cause. So where my brain goes with some of these matches, but I don't know. Mercedes better put on a really good show. This is a ton of build up. We've been waiting 2 months for her to actually in ring debut. And when you're having that much anticipation, you better deliver, right? If she comes out, lackluster, fans are going to let her know, right? Like, really, we waited this long with all this anticipation, and this is it. So she's really got to do something special if you've made the fans wait 2 months, right? So that's what I think. But can you see Willow? She's such a baby face. Could you see her with a heel turn?
No, I think Willow right now in her run right now, she is more over than when she debuted and was teaming with like Ruby Soho and then teaming with Chris Statlander. She's literally pushed that limits of babyface standards right now. And the way she gets with the crowd, the running around, clapping the hands and all that. I think it's really hard to push her as a heel. I mean, in this story, you almost have to say 100% Mercedes. And then again, with Chris Statlander, you don't know where she's going to go. I mean, do we have a lot of heel female wrestlers on the roster? Do we have more faces? They have to have that balance of heel and face too. So, but again, with your talk on Stokely, yeah, I mean, he could always turn on Willow and join Mercedes and be the right manager and just be like, I follow my CEO and I make the money now. So it's like,
it makes sense
where you're going
from a business standpoint. Because again, I think I've said it before in past shows. Like, if you're going to call your CEO, Matt, hey Matt. It's funny. Yeah, like CEO of what? What is she the CEO of? She's by herself. So she needs something. She needs a manager. She needs a group. She needs to be a CEO of something. You're not just because we already know she's not the CEO of AEW, and she's not an EVP because they already have that gimmick going. So if you're calling yourself I know it's a play off the boss, right? That her old gimmick, right? But you can't be like, hey, I'm the boss or I'm the CEO of what? Yourself?
Like, what if during the match, she beats Willow and both Chris and Stokely turn on Willow and join with Mercedes Moné, who's behind everything. The camera off attack that she had on camera. She told Chris, hey, you turn me and I'll slap Willow, thinking it was her. Like, what if Mercedes was the brainchild behind all of this to get Chris and Stokely on her side and leaving Willow all by herself? I mean, that's pure manipulative heel CEO type of stuff.
That's good. What if, again, this is way in left field. Again, what if, Mercedes wins the title? If she's the CEO, could she be a female member of the Elite?
Perhaps.
Right,
perhaps you don't see that much.
They're EVPs. Now we got our CEO. Now they're dabbling into the female division, the women's division.
Yeah,
right.
Possibly.
I'm not opposed to. I like when you get like a woman joins a stable as well, because it kind of like Julia Hart with the House of Black. I like that because it gives that element where you can kind of like I would love to see like a Serena Deeb join like the BCC, right? Like she calls herself the professor. She's like a technician, just like those guys. She's hard hitting. I know. I just think that if you add a female element to it, right, it kind of opens up. But again, that's one of predictions. But who knows? That's probably not going to happen. But it'd be nice to
We
see.
never know. We don't know where they're going with it, so we just got to follow.
Just got to follow. So the next match could be very interesting. I think it'll be a good match. The TNT Championship, Adam Copeland defending against Malachi Black inside a barbed wire steel cage. I'm actually looking forward to it. I think they've done a good job recently of building up Malachi. After I think a lot of fans were starting to feel like, what are you doing with this guy? You're wasting him. So I think they've done a great job of where they've gone. I think that I like the utilization of the House of Black. And Adam Copeland's had some great matches, especially against the House of Black, and the way that this manipulation's going and getting into the head of Adam Copeland and tapping into his dark side. It reminds me of kind of like where they were going with Judgment Day a little bit, right? Where he came out as the mastermind of Judgment Day, that type of thing. So, but anyway, I don't know if they'll go down that type of route, but it's just a way to show that he's crazy and he can be just as crazy as them, and you're opening the dark side and you don't want that. But yeah, it always, I always cringe when I hear barbed wire. I just feel something a little unnecessary. So, but so this one could be a bloody mess. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think Copeland has done very well since coming over. I think he's done really well with the Cope Open. He's had some really good matches with some guys, obviously Daniel Garcia, Kyle O'Reilly, even against, people like Matt Cardona, who accepted a challenge. I think he's done really well for what he's been doing. And I do like the direction they're taking Malachi in, where, hey, you got to face my family of the House of Black first, and then you and I can do all this. And it's very interesting, the route that they're taking of where they left Copeland and Malachi stealing his wedding band. Is it almost like a foregone conclusion that do we see Beth Phoenix appear at Double or Nothing? With the idea of he's holding, Malachi's got, Copeland's life basically in his hands, with that ring. And for me, I think this is a perfect time to give Malachi a singles run with something with a title. The man has put in the work, and he's just a really good character. And for me, someone who's really behind the House of Black and someone behind Malachi Black, even his time in WWE or even the Indies, is Tommy End. I think he deserves a big title like that. And I think it would be the perfect time to kind of pull the trigger on it, as well as just have Beth Phoenix show up to try to, be supportive of her husband, but only for Julia Hart to show up and kind of distract Copeland long enough with hurting his wife to allow Malachi to win the match. I think that would be great. It would be great chemistry, because then further down the line, you could have Copeland and Beth against, Malachi and Julia when Julia's, healthy again from injury. So I think with this, you kind of, because in my feelings, if you don't push Malachi to a singles title and let him just run with it, there's a possibility you can lose him from your roster. He could be gone and be going back to WWE. He could be going to TNA, and he's a great talent that you don't want to lose someone like that.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, and I think there's been a hole that's been left since Bray Wyatt. Since he passed away, there's a lot of interest in that kind of like that Wyatt family, that kind of a little bit dark, a little bit twisted. There's a gap there, right? And Malachi can, if anyone can fill that with those kind of what do you call those, like those kind of promos that he drops, the hints there. Yeah, the vignettes that he drops.
Yeah.
Yes, right. The vignettes. Sorry, the vignettes that he's doing, and they're almost like not scripted. They're almost in the riddles, right? Like at that, it's like, what does he really mean by that, right? It's the darkness. So I definitely think there's been a hole that's been left since we lost Bray Wyatt, and I kind of love that if they can run with it, like to your point, really there's a really good opportunity with Malachi, and you can see he's totally ready to step up. If you give him the ball, I mean, he's going to run with it. And I do love his crew. And I love that he still has the guys with him. But yeah, that the group is solid enough that he could go on a singles run and still have, the guys with him, to support, and they can do their own, like, make a great tag team as well. But yeah, I think this will be a good one. I'm going with Copeland on this one. I don't think they're ready to take the title off him. I think he's got a good run. I have a feeling they're going to let him run with it until Wembley.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my thought. I do think this match gives the opportunity for him to let the crazy character out, where he turns dark, right? He goes a bit nuts. I think this is a good opportunity for that. If anything's going to sun up, I mean, you can see he's starting to go nuts, and he wanted the barbed wire. He wanted this match, right? So I don't know. What are your predictions on this one? What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, I'd love to see them pull the trigger and see if they can give Malachi a run at a singles title,
Mm-hmm.
and have Buddy and Brody maybe win the tag titles off the EVPs, and just have House of Black have gold again. I feel like ever since they lost the trios titles, they've kind of lost their aura or their purpose on the
Mm-hmm.
roster, other than vignettes and the consistent targeting of Edge, Adam Copeland. And yeah, I'd love to see Malachi Black win the title, and kind of see what he can do with it. But I do see your point of having Edge hold it to Wembley to maybe have a bigger match at Wembley with a bigger name. Maybe it's a Will Ospreay, or maybe it's someone else. But yeah, no, I definitely want to see Malachi Black, but I do believe they'll probably have Copeland keep it.
Yeah, and when it comes to, so how do you see like a barbed wire steel cage? Now, is this going to be like the typical steel cage and just going to like wrap some barbed wire, or is the whole thing going to be barbed wire? Like, have you heard anything? Have seen anything of what it's supposed to be?
The only time I remember seeing a barbed wire, sorry, I'm yawning, I don't know why. The barbed wire steel cage is the top had the barbed wire around it, but you may see some barbed wire wrapped on the sides too. I don't know obstruction wise how that's going to work with cameras on the pay-per-view, because that might obstruct a little bit more with more barbed wire wrapped around already chain, or not chain, but like the metal links of the fence. So I obviously they do sometimes have cameras inside the cage. I mean, if you remember the Jack Perry Luchasaurus cage match, they had cameras in there on the sides, and even the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker match, steel cage match, they had the cameras inside. So maybe they do the same thing where they have the platforms inside, and they're basically cameras on the platforms. So
I mean more like a Hell in a Cell type scenario where it goes
right without the top,
right,
obviously.
and they can do around the
they
ring.
Can do the metal grates on the outside to have the camera crew inside there, because they've done it a couple times. But yeah, no, I can totally see the barbed wire around the top, so no one can get in or out, and then maybe some barbed wires wrapped around a couple of the sides.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with that one. All right. So the next one here is the AEW Women's World Championship. Toni Storm will defend against Serena Deeb. This will be interesting, and I love the fact that Toni Storm last week on was it Collision or Dynamite, where she grabbed the flag?
Collision.
I think it was Collision. Yeah, and she basically got undressed and came down in the wrap. That was actually pretty good. So interesting. I think it's going to be a good match. It's nice to see that they're pushing Serena Deeb. I still think Toni Storm's going to win this one. I think she's going to come out on top, at least giving a little bit of a showcase to Serena. But I think there's going to be some. I think it's going to be close, because Serena, obviously, she's one of the masters of holds and submission. So I think it's going to be close. I think there's going to be some interference, and unfortunate. So, and I can't quite get if they're trying to make Serena, is she a heel? I mean, it's hard. I know it's tough with Tony Storm because Tony's supposed to be a heel, but she's got a good fan base. Um, and Serena, I can't quite tell what they're trying to do with her. Is she a heel
She's
or?
meant to, because the way that they want to portray Tony as the heel, they're trying to portray Serena as the face. But the way that Serena makes, like, her facial expressions, the way she talks, the way she presents herself, it is very heel like.
Mhm.
So I see where that's going, but I'm gonna take it. I want to take this conversation real quick. If nobody
Mhm.
knows, Ruby Soho and Angela Parker just recently got married,
Mhm.
and a photo had popped up of all the girls from AEW, or former AEW women, who were at the wedding, and Tony Storm was in the picture, but she was in black and white.
Really?
Well, just to keep the kayfabe outside of AEW, just to have
Awesome.
her in black and white in this photo was just fantastic. But going back to this, yes, Serena is meant to be the face in this match, but yes, Tony's got so much of a support from the fans and just everybody loving her character. It's very hard to boo her, and just the way, like, because everybody claps her. And there's a couple times when I've watched AEW the shows, when Tony comes out, you could see some audience members even do like the
Oh,
majestic clap as she comes out, the little,
clap.
like
Yeah.
that, as it's like the 20s or 30s. So even the fans are starting to
Play
play
into
into
it.
the character. But I see this as an opportunity for Tony Storm to retain and possibly start a feud with a returning wrestler. And whether that be Britt Baker or someone we haven't seen in a while who should be back already is Jamie Hayter. You could have both those women return, one of the other return, and kind of start a feud and build up to All In at Wembley for a match with Tony Storm. So I honestly think the right route to go is probably Jamie Hayter against Tony Storm, as it was Tony Storm who took the title from Jamie in the first place. So kind of reignite that feud. So that's my prediction for that, is that Tony Storm's retains, and a good match. I think it will be a really good match between the two women, because Serena Deeb, basically, legend, not legend, but a vet, as it were,
Mhm.
in the sport, and someone like Tony Storm, who's just very good in the ring, very good character work. I think it's going to be a great match, and so and I'm looking for a return afterwards to start a new feud with Tony Storm, or reignite a former feud, whether it's Britt Baker or Jamie Hayter.
Mhm. Yeah, you know what I was going to ask you, because I kind of feel like the pay per view needs a surprise. It needs someone to return. Um, Again, I would love. I think there's so much potential. I just feel like the women's division is like, again, it feels like there's a good push on a few, and then they fizzle out. Then a good push on a few, and then that's fizzle out. Like Virtuoso, like, you know, like where's she right now? Where's she doing? Right. I feel like there's probably like a good handful of women that aren't really being utilized. Um, Hence, again, I would love, and I think a tag team division would really, really push that. I mean, I've been saying that since day one, right? I just utilize the characters, utilize it. There's so much there. It's just, it feels like it's just they're using people when when it's convenient, right? As opposed to like Soraya. What has
Mhm.
she done? Like, that was supposed to be such a big thing. She came back, and like she just pops up once in a while as like a manager now. Like, I just feel like that was a bit of a waste. I don't really get that. And then, you know, I don't know. I'm not really sold. And again, like you can tell, there's only there's two women's matches on the pay per view, which I guess is pretty common now, and they happen to be like two of the championship matches. But other than that, there's never any just a side match that happens to be a good feud, right? With the women's
Mhm.
division right now,
Or
again,
even a build to a number one contender. I mean, there's something like that where you could, I mean, a number one
yeah,
contender women's match on the card. Kind
yeah,
of be like, who's going to be the next opponent for this person.
I agree. I agree. There's no. It feels like there's no structure to the women's division. So I could see why there's frustration. And again, I don't even know really who's hurt and who's just sitting on the sidelines right now. right? And so again, I'm to your point. I think I think everyone's would love. I think if Jamie Hayter came out, the place would lose her mind. I think people actually are missing her, and because she's a good talent. Oh my god, if she came out with Britt Baker, that'd be great. So, anyways, I think I'm with you on that. I think that would make a good surprise. Now, if we go to again, I'm not sure how I feel about this. If I get excited about it, I never really get excited about these type of matches. The anarchy in the arena. We have the Young Bucks with um, Okada and Jack Perry versus Brian Danielson, Darby Allin, who again is filling in, I guess, for Eddie Kingston, who was hurt at his last New Japan match, and along with FTR. Um, I know it's going to be entertaining. I'm not really, and there's been some good ones, but I'm not a really big fan of these kind of anarchy in the arena, and things are just kind of happening all over, and garbage cans are getting thrown on people, and you're thrown over the concession stands, and driving golf carts and running over people. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think the elite is going to come out on top with this one. I don't know. How do you feel about this match?
It's hit or miss for me, these gimmicky matches, especially Anarchy in the Arena, because there's so much going on in the match that you have to keep the crowd involved in something during the match. And obviously there's all the backstage stuff that's going to happen in the match, in the arena match. Things might happen in the ring, so you're taking the audience attention to a lot of different places, and that might be overstimulating. I mean, we've seen it many times with Texas Tornado matches, Anarchy in the Arena, Blood and Guts. We see it. For me, I'm not really excited for this match. It's just another Anarchy in the Arena match. It's another match on Bryan Danielson's belt for his end of career tour. And it's shocking to see Darby Allin back. Obviously, coming back from he's got he broke his foot and then healed, and then like just recently was hit by a bus and he recovered from that. Like it's just a lot happening with Darby Allin and him coming back as the fourth man, which is weird because he still had that story to finish with Bullet Club Gold. It was them that kind of put him on the shelf, and yet here he is joining up with FTR and Danielson to go against the Elite. So it doesn't really make 100% sense to me. It's great to see Darby back, but yeah, this is going to be also a Darby Allin spot fest. So, I mean, I'm with you. I see the Elite winning this one. Maybe we see a shocking return of someone. Maybe a Hangman Page comes back and, kind of either sides with the Elite or kind of just like beats them, try to join AEW to beat them up, so you go any way with this story. I still feel that the Elite wins this match.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think they do for this one. Again, I don't know. I guess I've been pretty negative so far on this pay-per-view. Like,
I mean, but that's your opinion on the pay-per-view. Obviously we could be wrong. All these matches could be really good and have some good moments in them. We're just critiquing before the show even starts, just from our view and our of our watching of AEW recently, of where we feel it will go.
And I mean, I totally. I know there's going to be some great spots. I know every single match is going to have great spots. Usually does. Even if I'm not really interested in a match, I'll go like, okay, that was pretty interesting. Like, there's some good stuff, right? I get it. Every match is going to have some decent spots for sure. And I know overall AEW is really good overall at their pay-per-views, right? So I know maybe as long as I get a few surprises, maybe a couple of run-ins, then I'm fine. I'm sure it'd be great entertainment. Which takes us to now we've got which I think is going to be a very entertaining match. I'm looking forward to this one. We've got the head of the Patriarch. We've got Christian Cage, who will be as the challenger, will be facing Strickland for his AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So, which actually I love the fact. I mean, I know a few weeks back we were kind of like wondering after Christian had lost the TNT title, we are kind of wondering like, now he doesn't have that. What's it going to do? You know, I thought it was a great move. Had him off TV for a few weeks, and then boom, throw him right into the mix as a great heel, bringing his faction, which works. I think it's great. I love how he seemed to felt like he kind of orchestrated the turn that the Mogul Embassy that did on Swerve. That was very fitting. So I think it'd be a great. I think it'll be a great match. I think the fans are going to be really into this. I think we're going to see some. I think King Nada is going to be back. We're going to see him either come down. I do see a. I think there's. I can see Nick Wayne. Kind of jumping in. I don't know. Swerve's going to win this one, but I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty interesting, and I think they're going to at least. Even though Swerve is the baby face, they keep on giving those glimpses of how he is still has that craziness, and he keeps on saying, stuff I used to do, or he's got the cinder block, he's got the change, right? So even though he's still being Swerve, right? So, but I think this is going to be a good one. I think it's going to be an entertaining match, I think the fans are going to be into this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I predict this one to go second to last. Obviously, I think the Anarchy in the Arena match is going to be last on this card. Unfortunately, I think that's just how it's going to go. Yeah, I just think that's how it's going to go. I'd like to see this match go on last. Obviously, it's the world title, and Christian deserves a main event spot at the top of the card, but I feel like this will go on second to last, which is fine. It's up there. So, yeah, this is definitely a Swerve win. I do like the idea that his opponent here is Christian. They do have history together. I do still like the interpretation of family being the biggest thing in this storyline, as Nick hit Swerve with the picture of him and his daughters, and Christian having his family, and basically turning Swerve's family, i.e. the Mogul Embassy, against him. So it's a good story. I think this one you're going to see a surprise that Luchasaurus, i.e. Killswitch, maybe cost Christian the match incidentally, and Christian losing it over him, to where I think they turn Luchasaurus back to face. I think this is where you start to see the crumbles in the oh geez, I just hit the desk button and it raised up in the patriarchy. I think this is a perfect moment to do that and turn Luchasaurus face again, kind of inadvertently costing Christian the match, and Christian just taking it out on him to where Killswitch / Luchasaurus can't take it anymore. Maybe it'd be on the following episode of Dynamite where he just chokeslams Christian and just kicks, Nick Wayne in the face, knocks him out, and just looks at Mama Wayne and just walks out. But I do see Swerve retaining here, and I agree. I do think we see Prince Nana return for this match and kind of, do a little dance thing in front of Mama Wayne. So I think that's going to be a spot in the match.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So, I mean, overall, I think it'll be a good pay-per-view. I'm looking forward to a good crowd. There's going to be lots of crowd shots. I know it will be an entertaining pay-per-view. This is a signature pay-per-view for them. It's what all started, so you can't have it, be a lackluster. So again, I'm gonna maybe eat my words. I hope I do. I really hope I do. No, just like we've got tomorrow. So we've got Dynamite coming up, right? So they're this is the last push that they're doing, for before the big pay-per-view. We've got Tony Storm and Mariah May versus Saraya. Right. And
finally, in a match. I haven't seen her in a match in a while. So,
right. How much is she actually going to wrestle? Can she wrestle? Like, what's going on with her?
Right? She can. I just didn't think they had anything for her. And maybe she was just training more because maybe she wants to get in better shape. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I think this, Tony Storm and Mariah May will take that one. And they have Takeshita versus Matt Sydal. I love when they throw Matt Sydal when they just need, someone to, to take the bump, right? And he's that veteran guy. He's that utility guy.
And that's going to be a good match because a lot of people slept on that Takesha Rocky Romero match that they had just recently on a Rampage or Collision, and it was a really good match. Like it was a good 15-minute match. I went back and forth. It was good.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be a good. I agree that's going to be a good match. They've got a bit of a preview here: Will Ospreay and Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta and Roderick Strong. See, this is one of those matches that, like, if Trent Beretta and Roderick Strong win, that to me sets it up for, Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay to win. But if Will and Orange Cassidy win, an eyebrow gets raised, right?
Raised, yes. It's usually like that on wrestling shows, go home shows for pay-per-views. Is usually the catch is the person who wins the matchup usually loses at the pay-per-view against their opponent. So, I mean, maybe that trend will be different, but who knows?
Yeah, that'd be an interesting. Actually, that'd be a pretty entertaining match. So we'll see what happens there. And again, we've got the preview, right? We've got Strickland versus Nick Wayne, which is kind of interesting. And you know what? I got to hand it to Nick Wayne for being such a young guy and being able to do what he's doing with the confidence that he has. Like, man. So if you compare, okay, so I'll take two young guys side by side comparison, right? I'll do my hook comparison to Nick Wayne. Two young guys, two in shape guys, two slim guys. Like, I would take Nick Wayne all day over Hook, right? You could say, yeah, different styles, train differently. Yeah, but they're still trained by veterans. They're still developing their character development. They're still developing their style. You know what? That's pretty interesting. You know what? The fact that they've gotten Strickland, like they could have done Strickland versus Lucha, Kill Switch.
But they could have. But I think I'm agree with you on that. I think Nick Wayne, as character development wise, I think he's done very well. And that's nothing to take away from Hook if you're doing the comparison of the two. Like I said, I do like Hook's in ring style, all of that, but in his presentation, I just don't like his promos. And all that stuff, and just him eating bags of chips all the time. Where Nick Wayne is embracing that evil son of an evil man kind of stereotype wrestler, and he's taking it to the next level.
No, I agree. So it's good. By giving him if Nick Wayne pulls off a good performance, like this only helps solidify him, right? Like they're eventually, again, I could see him being a pillar, right? I talk about guys that you could see as the future of AEW. I think he's right up there, right? I think if you're going to put Hook up there and say he's the future, then you got to put Nick Wayne up there and say he's also the future, right? If you're starting that next generation of the pillars, so which is strange. Okay, so what's happening with Adam Cole? What is going on? Like we've got Roderick, and then we see the rest of the crew out there, but then I just don't see what's going on here. Are we going to see Adam Cole come out? Is that going to be a surprise? I feel like there's quite a few guys that they haven't utilized that they could use as a surprise. Is it too early for MJF to come back? Does it make sense for MJF to come back? Is it, are we going to see Adam Page? Are we going to see Adam Cole? Like there seems to be a lot of guys that would normally be on a pay-per-view like this that aren't involved, right? And so there's a lot of guys. All the original pillars, except for Darby. I think Darby's on the show, right? So I don't know. Do you see any other surprises come out? I know we talked about and you mentioned some of the women's surprises potentially that would make sense.
MJF. I'm gonna go MJF makes her surprise return, I think. I don't know how far along he is on recovery from his injuries, but I think it would be great because word is he did sign a new contract with AEW for a while, so it would be nice to see him come out, maybe even come out during that. Maybe he may be the surprise return on that Anarchy in the Arena match afterwards, his team AEW, where he comes back and fights the EVPs, I think that would be a great return for MJF to be like, this is team AEW, who else can represent them or stop, the elite from this post-match beatdown, blah, blah, blah. And, you have all these people run in, but they get beat up, and then MJF's music hits. He's basically one of the pillars of AEW. So, you have him return in a big way. Yeah, I think that'll be a huge pop.
Yeah, interesting. I know we always predict like this and that, and you always get so excited, and then it's like, oh yeah, nothing happened. All right. So I guess because we never really know the full status on guys and where they really are, in their recovery, how bad injuries are. Does it make sense, with the storyline? Well, it doesn't make sense to rush him yet. I don't know, but let's see. It should be entertaining. We've got some good wrestling, coming up this week. Is there Collision or a Rampage this week since the pay-per-view's on the Sunday? Do you know?
I'm assuming they're doing it again because I think they're still doing the NBA playoffs and all that and NHL. I think they're doing it again for Saturday till the playoffs are done. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on it. But they've usually been doing Collision and Rampage back to back.
Yeah. What like when you have you've got some good matches there, the kind of leading up to it, right? The on Dynamite. Then you get this pay-per-view with all these matches that are happening. What would you do? I don't know. What kind of matches could you do for a Collision and Rampage that would mean anything, right?
I think really you'd have it as filler episodes. Maybe you have Lucha Brothers wrestle against somebody. I don't know. You kind of have Collision and Rampage as kind of filler. Maybe you have some segments to build up the pay-per-view. Who knows? So maybe you build up maybe you announce a 0-hour card.
Mm-hmm.
You get 2 matches on 0 hour built up.
Yeah, I can see 0 hour. We also saw the Bang Bang, the Bang Bang Gang, right? They had with Pac, kind of, so I think there's something there. That one might be good for a 0 hour, or if that's going to be something that they're going to keep for a Collision or and what, I'm actually really liking the direction of this, the babyface version of Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that. He's obviously not on there, so he'd be maybe someone you'd have for a Collision or a Rampage. Or again, what are they going to do with Joe? I mean, there's a lot of guys that are just kind of sitting in the wind that you don't really know what they're going to do.
Joe, I believe, is out doing stuff for Twisted Metal season 2.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
I think that's what he's doing right now is press stuff, and I think I'm assuming that's why he hasn't been, or other than that match he had after losing the title. I think he's got a lot of press junkets for season 2 because I think season 2 comes out this year.
I never actually watched. I haven't watched the first season.
Great show.
Yeah. What network?
If you're a big fan of the game, you'll love the TV show.
Yeah, no, I've never actually played the game.
Great.
So I've heard of it and familiar, but just weird. This past week, they did have Joe come out with Hook and kind of say something, right? And then Hook did his well, I'll fight you too, Joe. Oh, okay, right. So just interesting what they're going to do with Joe. I hope they do something with him. I don't think his time is up. I think he still has a good run, and the fans, I think, still love him. So definitely like to see what happens there. But I guess we'll never know, and we could be totally wrong on all these predictions, right? So
yeah, who knows?
Which is something you get, because again, that just shows that not professional wrestling isn't always predictable, which you like, and that's one of the reasons why we enjoy it, right? We love the twists and things, and give us things that we're not anticipating, right? I know everybody loves to feel that they can anticipate and they'll know what's happening because I'm the true fan, but that's one of the great things about professional wrestling that we love. So, but yeah, you know what? It'll be, I think it'll be entertaining. We'll see what happens. And the next few shows this week are just going to be previews for it. So I don't really see too much happening, but what I do like when these pay-per-views is it kind of gives that opportunity for new storylines to start. Right. It's so we're looking forward to that, and we can see what the next chapter is for some of these guys. So it'll be interesting. But as we come to over our hour, I think we can call it for another week, Adam. And I'm sure next week we will have we can talk about what happened and see what we thought. Were we
Yeah,
right
yeah.
about
Let's see if
anything?
our predictions were wrong or right. So who knows?
That's awesome. But always a pleasure, Adam. It's great. And
Yep.
thanks for everyone who's tuned in, and thanks for the
Yeah.
comments this week. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
Make
again,
sure.
everyone,
Yeah.
um,
Make sure you guys catch us tomorrow for our live reaction to Dynamite, and
good.
then
And
Thursday, since
mhm.
I'm on here and it's Canada, I did make the announcement last week. Since Thursday will be I believe the 25th or 30th year of the passing of Owen Hart. So this Thursday will be, I believe, 25 years since he passed. It was
Yeah.
1999, so it's 25 years. So we're going to be doing a special Owen Hart tribute show on Thursday for Talking Elite.
Oh, perfect.
So we'll be talking about his career and everything like that, and um, be sure to join us there as well. So I just wanted to make that announcement here since it's Canada. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, absolutely. You're welcome to a preview show any time, of course. I'm sure it'll be a great show. So good luck with that. Great topic, by the way. So it's great. So again, tune in for Adam's show on Thursday. A lot of great stuff, a lot of activity that we have on AEZ and All Elite Zone here on YouTube. So we'll join you again next Tuesday with some of our recap and reviews of what happens from the pay-per-view this past week. And again, like and subscribe, invite all your family and friends. We really appreciate the support. It's great. Adam, it was a pleasure. And we'll see you next
always,
week. And enjoy your show on Thursday.
yep, absolutely. Good night, everybody.
Cheers.